You're listening to the Trailblazers Podcast, episode 35 with Rahfeal Gordon.
You're listening to the Trailblazers Podcast, where we will explore the stories of successful Black professionals. Join us as we highlight the knowledge, resources, and tools of these accomplished trailblazers to help provide the know-how, confidence, and motivation you need to blaze your trail. And now, here's your host, Stephen Hart.
What is up, Trailblazers? Welcome back to episode 35 of the Trailblazers Podcast. So exciting. Today, we are talking with international award-winning entrepreneur, speaker, and author, Rahfeal Gordon. Rahfeal has come a long way from his hardships of being homeless in the streets of Newark, New Jersey. He's recognized as one of the top international speakers and advisors for world leaders and entrepreneurs who are impacting the world. His stellar resume begins with the establishment of his first successful company, Infinite Productions, while attending Arts High School in New Jersey at the age of 15. In 2001, Rahfeal established his first nonprofit organization in 2005. He established the Rahfeal C Gordon Scholarship Foundation, which benefits high school and college students with average grades, but who exhibit exceptional business acumen and entrepreneurial spirit. In 2008, he launched RahGor Motivations Publishing. He is today the global ambassador of the International Hub in Oslo, Norway, which houses and provides resources for startup entrepreneurs from 21 different countries. And he's also co-founded the Voices for World Peace organization. If all that wasn't impressive enough, you'll definitely be amazed to hear that he has written 14 published books that focus on personal development and global leadership. And his most recent release is entitled SKYSCRAPER, Going Beyond Your Limits to Reach Greatness. Without question, Rahfeal is a trailblazer who's still actively blazing a wildfire across the globe. And we are so happy to have him here to share his knowledge and his story today with our trailblazers. So here's the one, the only, Rahfeal Gordon. Rahfeal, thank you so much for coming on and welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So before we dive into our talk, I'd love you to maybe share with our community what you're most grateful for in your life right now.
What I'm most grateful for is honestly just like the aspect of experience in life in general. I think it's so important that even for myself, I'm always the guy that always thinks about like just being grateful to knowing that I have an opportunity to experience life, to chase my dreams and to meet people and connect with them. So, I'm very grateful for just the aspect of living.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Something we have to be grateful for every day.
That's right.
Especially in light of everything happening right now,
True,
right?
Indeed. Yeah, but you gotta look at the positive side. I think it's important, especially like, whether life is ups and downs, that's like, for me, I think it's still a beautiful journey. And so
absolutely,
to have that opportunity to experience it should be, everyone should be grateful for that.
So we've got so much that I want to talk with you about, so many wonderful things happening, as you mentioned. But, before we do, I wanted to reflect a little bit on your backstory for a minute. You've shared in your bio that you came a long way from being homeless in the streets of Newark, New Jersey.
Yes. And
I wanted to ask you, why were you homeless and what was it like to be on the streets with no place really to call home?
So I got a chance to experience the aspect of being homeless because my parent separated when I was young, and they were dealing with drugs and alcohol. And what happened was my mother ended up, when my parents separated, my mother, as usually with many women, especially in this society, end up having to take the children. And so she ended up with 4 boys on her own. And so we went from living in a stable home to going from place to place, living with family members and some of her friends, to sleeping in the car, to living into the shelters and just staying outside most of the nights too. And, it was pretty tough. At one time, I got a chance to actually go back and stay with my father, but he ended up, after about a year or two, he just ended up just leaving me by myself, and I kind of had to just kind of defend and kind of find my way through my teenage years leading into college. And so, so that in itself was kind of like, that's like a general overview, but it was definitely different. You have to deal with the aspect of trying to keep a smile on your face when, so that no one really kind of asks too many questions. And even when you're wearing the same outfit twice, going to school and, when you're young, people, sometimes the kids can be so cruel. And yet your thing is to try to still kind of keep strong. And coming from the inner cities of Newark, you can't be, I always say that, you can't show any weakness in a sense, because if so, then you get picked on the most. So, but my experience with that was really, it was definitely a deep and full of, ups and downs with that.
So there's so many things that happen between that point to this transition through to where you are today. Take us through, some of these difficult decisions along the path and the eventual transition from being homeless at that point in time to being this global leader and entrepreneur that you are today.
Yeah, it's, I think that in life you will have so many different decisions that we have to make. And I'm always a firm believer that my hands and my feet are grounded in God. And so for me, I think about like one of the decisions I had to make was just kind of like separating myself from individuals who were more so not helping to lift me up or putting me down, whether it be with their belief system or the way that they see the world or just how I would go about trying to get through the day. So, that in itself was a difficult decision because I was growing up with friends for, when you're growing up with certain individuals, at a certain point, you have to start making decisions based upon, what they're getting involved into. And so for me, I always had like these individuals who were mostly adults who would come into my life and my circle and just always say, what are you doing over there? Come over this way. And so, your friends are telling you like, no, you need to come this way. And sometimes those particular individuals who I call friends weren't really taking me into the right direction. So I made the decision to kind of follow these, what we you say like the old people, follow them, but they had the wisdom that was needed for me to kind of preserve this light that I had within me. I think a heavy decision that I made, which a lot of people, even to this day, would say you shouldn't do, is I ended up dropping out of college. In my undergrad year, I had like about a semester left of school. And
really?
I dropped out because what happened was I used entrepreneurship as my tool to bring money into my pocket. I started a business when I was 15 in arts high school in Newark, and I started by selling candy because I didn't want to sell drugs. And so for me to sell candy, I was actually making more money than my teachers were in a week. And that was the thing that a lot of that was kind of what was mind blowing to a lot of the teachers as well as the people that were considered like my bosses at work. And so when I got to college and I started to do I went from selling candy in school and to actually like promoting parties in college. And so I ended up started getting banned from hosting events on the campus and around the hotels because there were so many people coming around. And so a friend of mine said that you have a particular energy about you that's causing you to influence all these people to come to these events that you're having. And it was like, you have a decision. You can either stay in school because, I was in school I was in school like 6 or 7 years, still not with a degree. And I said to myself, what, I'm going to leave. And even though like the graduation was like, one more semester, I left and just decided to pursue the business that I have now. And it was also because I haven't traveled the world. I wasn't traveling. I'd never been on an airplane at the time. So when I left, that's when I started to kind of take root and take flight to things that I didn't get a chance to do in my younger years.
Have you ever had any regrets about that? Like, do you ever want to go back and finish that semester?
Well, that's the thing. I actually did. When I decided to leave school, my grandmother was actually with me when I think like 2 years after I left. I was going to go back to school, and my grandmother said when I was going through a moment, I was like, I can't do it. Like, it's really tough. And I was like, I just don't feel it. And she says, well, you got a decision to make. She said, you can either say if you decide to pursue your business full time or pursue this dream of yours, you're going to have to promise that you're going to either come back to finish, or they're going to give you an honorary degree. And I made it's crazy. And so this is my grandmother at 30. She retired as a teacher. She was an educator for 30 years. Wow. And one of the things that I told her was that even when I left, I knew that I was going to come back because there were so many people, our ancestors, that have sacrificed their lives for me to have an opportunity to get an education. And so I knew that I had to pay homage to them by getting a degree no matter how. And so the school found out what I was doing with the business and seeing me traveling. I got nominated for the NAACP Image Award back in 2008. And then that same year, what happened was they gave me life credits. So all the courses that I was actually implementing in my day-to-day life, they gave me credit for that. And I ended up having to take like 2 or 3 classes, physical physically be there like once a month, and they end up giving me a degree, a marketing degree. So I end up graduating. And
so you got
it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That is fantastic. So you've now written and published, what, like 14 books?
15 on the way.
Oh, my gosh. You've also created several companies, both for-profit, non-profit. You're a global ambassador, an international speaker. Your list of accomplishments and accolades are probably so long it needs its own episode. What are you creating through your influence and platform?
Honestly, I can think of three things. Like, one is I'm just creating and guiding more effective and productive global leaders and entrepreneurs for this generation and the next. I think that it's so important that, that there are more effective and productive ways that individuals can lead a country and lead their community or their family. The second thing is, like, I with this platform, I'm also creating a new narrative and dialogue for those who come from the situation that I've come from, because I felt that there needs to be a bigger light and a stronger platform. Like, I felt that when I was watching television in college, watching MTV Jams and all these different things, I felt like there was there wasn't, like, why wasn't there like a Jay-Z of public speaking? Why wasn't there a Steve Jobs of the publishing world who were under the age of 35? And so I felt that if I could break that ceiling, if I could create that pathway, it goes into my third piece, which is to create a blueprint for individuals who said, I don't want to be an entertainer, or I don't want to do these different things. It's cool. Now, these athletes are cool, but I want to do something where I can use my intellect in a higher way, and also reap the benefit on the business end. So my platform is just literally to develop those global leaders and entrepreneurs, create the new narrative, and then, just create a new blueprint.
So here's the thing, right? Someone listening right now might think, you know what, you were lucky, or maybe you had some special talent, right, that allowed you to experience this level of success, right? And I don't believe that. I personally believe that, anyone with a right mindset who takes action could experience the same thing, right? If you're in agreement with me on that statement, I'm going to ask you to maybe share some insights, right? Okay. Are you in agreement with me?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah.
All right. All right, so how can each person listening right now begin the process of tapping into their true potential in both life and in business?
All right, so one, this is like 100%. You got to have immaculate faith in whatever it is that you're trying to aim towards. And to do that, along with that faith, that immaculate faith, you got to have a crystal clear vision about what you want. So, example, I'm just going to use a materialistic example. Like, if you want a car, like my goal is, or my vision is to have this car. And the question is, well, yeah, that's great, but what type of car? What color? What does it look like? How does it make you feel? Why do you want that car? And so your why, of course, it's like this general term saying, like, your why has to be super huge. It has to be able to be connected to a purpose that's bigger than you. And so you got to have that faith that you want to be able to achieve it, but you got to have a crystal clear vision, and it got to be able to excite you and scare you at the same time. And that's one of the reasons how you can tap into your true potential, because you're intensifying your passion. One is to intensify the things that is working for you, and then also letting go of the things that's not. I think that a lot of times people feel that they need to master everything or try to strengthen things that they're weak in. And, some things, yes, but I think at the end of the day, you know between your actions what you're really good at and what you're passionate about. So you should focus specifically. If it's working for you, intensify that, because you never know how far you can go until you take it there. And then, and my last thing, I created an equation called D3 equals F. So that's discipline, dedication, determination equals forever. And I feel like you have those three characteristics. Whatever you do, whatever you create will last for eternity. So generations that's later coming down the line will be able to acknowledge the work that you've done because of your discipline, your dedication, your determination to make whatever your dream or your purpose was come to a reality.
Your discipline, your dedication, and your determination equals your forever.
Yep.
Wow. Love that.
Thank you.
Love that.
Yeah.
Let me switch gears. Okay. Is for you, right? Is there a difference for you between joy and happiness?
Absolutely. I talk about this in my book, actually. My book, SKYSCRAPER, Going Beyond Your Limits to Reach Greatness. And in the book SKYSCRAPER, I talk about the joy. Like, people tend to be like, oh, I'm happy, or, everything about happiness. And my thing is that joy is your emotion. Joy is that feeling you get, but happiness defines it. Like, for example, it's the result of your joy. So your happiness intensifies that emotion of joy. So example would be like your favorite sweater, your favorite color, your favorite car, or your favorite song. When those things are around you, your best friends, the family members that's been there from you from day one, that your job that you work at that you love so much, or your passion project, those are your happiness. And those happiness things and situations intensify your joy. And so the goal is for you to always surround yourself with as much happiness as possible so that your joy can always be increased and intensified. And so every time that your joy isn't at its best or at its height, you have to inventory check yourself and ask yourself, what is it that's around me or that I'm focusing on that isn't my happiness? Because if you put your focus on something that makes you mad or stressed, your joy is not even showing. You're not feeling it. So you have to be able to, like when you have individuals that's in your circle and you know that they are toxic with their thoughts or toxic with their words, that that's going to make your joy level go completely down, if not, eradicated, disappear. Yep. So your thing is just like, all right, look, you got to make that sound decision and that tough decision. And even if that person's been with you for a long period of time, you got to be like, look, where you're going and what you're saying is not what I'm about. I gotta let it go because this is not what my happiness. This is not happiness, and it's not intensifying my joy. So you need to put the people and the things that's in place around you visually through the sound, so that you can be intensified by with your joy.
Right. Mm-hmm. On the show, we like to talk about fears, about challenges, about roadblocks, right?
Yeah.
And, I'd love you to maybe tell us a story about maybe one of the biggest mistakes you've ever made as an entrepreneur or a leader. What happened and how were you able to overcome it to move forward?
That's a good one. I think I was like, wait a minute, that's what you said, tell a story. I think, one is I think that in general terms, one of my biggest mistakes, and it took a while, I think because of, trying to look for validation. Like I was looking for validation from individuals, but I already had the validation from God. That's how I always say it. That's like, I'm already validated by being here. So that means I'm here for a particular purpose that's very special. And so every day that I wake up, I know that there's something that I need to do to get closer to fulfilling my purpose. But when I started to create things, or when I started my business, I remember like when I first started speaking, I was asking individuals like, what do you think about me being a public speaker? And pretty much from the hood, everyone's like, what? Like, why would you want to be like a motivational speaker? Like, there's no one around here that wants to make that like their life, like, play basketball or, go to college and things like that. But I felt that, my biggest mistake was trying to look for people to co-sign something that was placed on my heart, when in all actuality, like if I wanted it, I should have just gone with it. And I think what happens is it would have saved me so much more time, and that time would have been used to invest in my dream and my goal to get me closer to where I am now. And so like that happened also when I did like my first book and did my first seminar. I assumed that there were certain people that would be coming out to see me speak or to purchase my books, and that never happened. And again, I assumed, and you realize quickly that you looking for validation from, individuals is not the wrong people. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
So who should we look to validate our ideas and talk with, talk through some of what it is that we hope to give life to?
Right. Well, I do think that it's important to talk to and actually have a circle of advisors. And these individuals are people who have done it, who have chased their dreams and seen it become a reality. These individuals have been where you are, and you're trying to get to the level that they are. And I think that they have a lot of solid advice and wisdom for you. And I think it's important that you find mentors and individuals, whether it's in your personal life or for your business, whatever the case may be, but individuals who will help you make the decision, and not make the decision for you, nor tell you what to do. But they will tell you what their ups and downs were, how they got through it, what was some of their motivations, motivation, what was some of their darkest and deep moments, and what was some of their brightest light moments. And I think that what that does is it humbles you to, and for me, like I study a lot of the greats that came before us, and the similarities that I found within them was that they all had a very difficult time at a point, and is what they did in that time of chaos, that time of storms, is what made them great in their own right. And majority of the time, they made a decision upon themselves and not looked from someone else to make the decision for them.
Great. Mm-hmm. Even in those scenarios, right?
Yeah.
We sometimes have to pivot, right?
Of course.
And reset. How would you describe the stages of a transformation, as you've alluded to before, right? That one must probably go through to be able to pivot, to plan, and to pursue their purpose and passion.
Yeah, so this is another piece that I share. I do a lot of, when I do my keynotes or when I'm doing advising, especially with a lot of the global leaders, I talk to them about, like, there's 3 stages of transformation. And so, like, the first stage is the stage of chaos. And in the stage of chaos, it's like when you create when you're creating a new goal, a big goal, or you're going to pursue something that you've never pursued before. So what happens is everything gets tested. If you have a family, your time management gets tested. Your belief system gets tested. The relationships you have with other people, business and personal life, gets tested, because this is a new goal. Some things that worked before was not going to work anymore. Some people that came along with you for the first ride and like, I'll come along with you for the second ride. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. And so it's going to cause chaos, and it's going to cause a lot of storms, and
man, I'm living that out.
Yeah. So like, and it's normal. And see, that's the first stage of it, which is the stage of chaos, because it rumbles. But then there's the second stage. The second stage is the stage of ruins, and the stage of ruins is where you are after everything has settled, whether the goal has been accomplished or not, if the business has been created or not, if the relationship has still sustained or not. Is where you are after it's over. It's like when you go to, people pay thousands and thousands of dollars to go to like Rome or to Greece to see these immaculate, quote unquote immaculate, amazing different ruins. But people fail to realize like these are not in this perfected state anymore. But people still go out and admire it because it's still here after all these years, after all the storms, after all the wars. It's still standing, as even with the stuff that has been missing. So as an individual, you stand in the stage of ruins. But what happens too is that many, many people stay there. They get comfortable there. They can't go on because they felt that the first stage was too tough for them. They feel that they're still living, but they know like if they even continue to pursue this goal to go even higher, if they didn't achieve the goal, it's probably going to be even more. It's going to be tougher. But what happens is the last stage, which is the third stage, the stage of transformation, is where the few actually make and see. Those are the individuals that say, you know what, even though I failed, I'm going to still try it again. Even though I have achieved, I still can't settle here. And so what happens is they transform and go beyond what others think. It's like there's the movie called The Man of Steel, with this movie about Superman, and his father in the beginning, when they were sending little Clark Kent off to Earth, the father made a very powerful statement, which I always share, and he said, what happens when a child becomes more than what society intended him to be? And that's what it is in the stage 3, is what happens when you become more than what your family, your friends, even your imagination couldn't even comprehend and create, that you become this person, and you gain all this intelligence, this knowledge, and you be able to do things that's beyond you. And all you can do is say, you'll be grateful for it. But then what happens is, because of that, your light shines brighter and people are more attracted to you, because now you're at a stage where many, many people want to go and you've reached there. So in the stage of transformation, all 3, from the stage of chaos, ruins to transformation, is the journey to help you get to that stop in which you're trying to achieve.
Does the process start over again?
Always. As long as you're limited, always, because at the end of the day, especially
once you set another bar, right?
Yep. You want to move it to a new location. Traffic jams again. Oh my gosh, you got to learn the whole new routes and things like that. So every time you got a new goal or a new place that you want to go to, there's always going to be those 3 stages that you got to go through.
So true, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, Rahfeal, what can we look forward to? What's next? Are there any, I shouldn't say are there. with you there always. Big dreams and goals on your vision board. When we look out 10 years from now, what should we expect from you?
Everybody keep asking me, am I going to run for president? I'm like, wait, that's the question. 10 years from now, I mean, I think one of the goals that I have now is to just intensify and continue doing what I'm doing. But I want to be able to, 10 years from now, you'll probably see me definitely advising some of our even more dynamic global leaders around the world, whether they be the prime ministers or even the presidents of our country as well. But I definitely do see, just advising our next group of global leaders, helping to establish and strengthen our education systems around the world, and just kind of being that example of being a strong and dynamic businessman and just a global leader, as well as a community leader as well, and just kind of showing people that that you can do it.
It's awesome. Mm-hmm. So before we let you go, we love to be able to tap into some of your resources and your tools, right? Share with us what's one book you've read in the past year that's inspired you.
Okay. So one book, which is one of my faves, I just finished reading about a couple months ago, Mandela, the authorized biography by Anthony Sampson. Phenomenal book. It's just, it's Mandela, so you can't go wrong with that.
Right. What's something small you've done this month that you're proud of?
Something I've done this month. I was in Porto, Portugal, and I was walking on a riverfront, beautiful riverfront, and there was this couple that was, I guess they were out there just, doing their music thing, and they just traveled to get money from their music. And I was taking pictures, and I happened to take a picture of them, literally of him kissing her, like on the forehead.
Really?
It was like the perfect picture. And what happened was I think one of them couldn't speak English, but the other one asked the one that I think the boyfriend, he could speak English, and so he asked if I could send it to them, and we ended up connecting on Facebook, and I sent them a picture, and for them it was like capturing love in a country that I'm not from, and they were so excited, and I thought that for me, like that warmed my heart. So I thought like that was a proud moment for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So name an online resource. Could be an app, software, a tool that you use every day and you can't live without it.
Oh, well, outside of social media apps. It's like almost crazy. WhatsApp is my favorite.
Really?
Because I have a staff, my team is all over the world, and so having them all on WhatsApp under a group, it fit like when I send messages, everybody gets it no matter where they are in the world, and you don't got to pay for it, of course, but it feels as though everybody is right here with me in New York City.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I live and die on WhatsApp and Evernote are my two biggest apps that I use every minute of the day. If I'm not taking notes in Evernote, I'm probably talking to someone on WhatsApp.
I gotta write that down. I gotta write the Evernote.
Oh, you don't use Evernote? You're gonna become a believer, my friend.
Nice. I can't look. I'm gonna do that right now. As soon as we finish the interview, I'm gonna have to download that app.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, share with me, why is volunteering important to you and giving back of your time, talents, and treasures?
Well, volunteering I think is important. I think it exercises the muscle for leadership. I think that when you're volunteering, you also we are all servants. Like if you're a leader, you are a servant. And so I think that volunteering shows you that how great of a leader you are, that you are willing to tithe your time to help others, and to know that it's not about you. It's about the overall cause of something. So I think that when you do volunteer, you're helping build a better community. You're building structure for people, and you just being a great resource. So I think it's really, really important. And then it's also letting you be able to be touched, because you don't want to do things where you're not able to be with the people, with the community. And so volunteering allows people to touch you, to know you, and to be able to say that, oh, okay, and share your insight while you're helping for the bigger cause, whatever that may be when you're volunteering.
Right. Mm-hmm. Before I ask my last question, I'd love to invite you. Take a minute. I want you to impart an inspiring message that can help our listener jump off this recording and take action today to blaze their trail.
Okay. Well, first thing, my quote that I live by, that I tell everyone, is that your location is not your destination. And I'm going to say that again. Your location is not your destination. And I think it's important that you, the listener, that's you who's listening right now, understand that you have one life to live. And whatever you may be going through, whatever you're thinking about trying to create or do, just do it. Every second, every moment is the right moment. Don't wait till a Monday to say, oh, let's start the week. No, every moment is the start of the life that you want to achieve and want to create. And no one can do it but you. You got all the supporting cast around you. All you got to do is make the decision. And if you believe in you, if you can say to yourself in the mirror, I can do this, I will do this, I will push, and my why is big enough, and it scares and excites you at the same time, trust and believe where you are today is not going to be where you be at tomorrow, because again, your location is not your destination.
Love it.
Yeah.
We'll definitely be posting that all over social media.
Nice.
Rahfeal, how will the world be different because Rahfeal was here?
I just think that the world will be different in regards to helping create more smiles. You know, I think that for me to be here is to be able to create as many smiles as possible and to be able to show people like their light. Like my thing is that I think that the more people that I help achieve their goals, the many people I can help get out of their chaos or guide them through, I think that the world will be so much better. And even though when you say, like, how will the world be different, I think that for me being here, I'm helping many people find out how much more we are all similar, so that we can all make a difference in the world.
Great.
Yeah.
Love that. Mm-hmm. My brother, I'm so happy that our paths aligned at that VE Modern Man tour. We're both Black Enterprise Modern Men.
Yeah.
And, you know, we met at the tour event in New York City a little while ago. And I just want to say thank you so very much for coming on to the podcast and sharing your amazing story. I'm so fascinated by all aspects of your backstory, what you're doing today, what you aspire to do moving forward. And you know, we're just so happy to have you as part of the Trailblazer family, man.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate the invite. I'm truly glad I'm able to give some light and be able to assist in all that you're doing as well with this platform. So I'm definitely thankful and grateful for it.
It's awesome. Before we let you go, tell us how we can stay connected to you.
Oh, man.
And we'll finish up for today.
Yes. You can find me on any of the social media by RahGor, RahGor. My website is www.rahgor.com. And you can find me, and again, the social media, you can go on the website. All my contact is there. You can see all my videos. We have over almost 200 something plus videos as well. But Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all those.
Who needs Snapchat?
I know, right?
Insta now. Cover that.
Yeah. So all that, and but that's how you can find me. And again, my office is located in New York City. So if you're ever in the area and you got some great insight that you would love to share with me or just connect with, you know, I'm like Superman. I'm always around.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much for being our guest on today's episode, my man.
No problem. Thank you again, Steph. Appreciate it.
Well, that's it for today. Thanks again for listening to this episode of the Trailblazers podcast. I'll be posting links to all of today's book recommendations and links mentioned on our show notes page at tbpod.com. If today was your first time listening to the Trailblazers podcast, I just want to extend a warm Trailblazers welcome to you. We're so happy to have you here, and we encourage you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button in your favorite podcast app. Go ahead and browse through some of our past episodes to keep the knowledge flowing. If you're a fan of the podcast and today's content, and you're maybe already subscribed to the podcast, please continue to share and invite your friends, your family, or colleagues to listen to an episode that you think might impact them most. We believe that someone listening to these inspiring stories will be moved to make significant changes that will have generational impact for many others, both now and well into the future. Don't miss next week's episode. New episodes are released each and every Monday by about 5 a.m. Eastern. Trailblazers, jump off this podcast today. Go find a way to rise above, go way beyond, and keep blazing your trail. Cheers.